vicious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and the retain list has been announced. Yay!
Yay! On the day that I tweeted not to worry about it, and it drops. Yay!
It was literally within 20 minutes or so as well. I'm sure it was when you tweeted that out, and then like half an hour later, club going, well, Danny's getting it now.
I detect finessing from the club there.
Big fans of that. That's what we're going to cover basically tonight. The players that have been released, the rumours that are still going, the update on the Smith contract, which is minimal. That's it, I think. Mick, happy with that?
Yeah, good. Let's crack on, mate. I'm all for it.
We should say we spoke last night to Neil Richardson. And it was great speaking to Neil. He is such a good. When that episode's out, you will love it. He is such a great guy. Really great to speak to him. But thoughts and prayers with his dad passed away last night, so massive thoughts and prayers with him. Because Neil is lovely. I've only met him twice. I don't know if you met him before, Neil, but such a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really, really sad news for him. And just hoping him and his family are all right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That'll be out in a couple of weeks. We'll sort that out as and when. We have a few people with us. Donald London's with us. S64 Miller, Jelian Simpson, PowerMad UK, and Neil Taylor are the ones joining us so far. Also, what I will say is, just briefly, I've put a sort of a survey out on our Twitter page for people to let us know what's good, what's bad, what you want, what more you want to see, or that type of thing. If you get annoyed about Mick doing things, Ben eating, just let us know, put it in there, and then I've got something to tell him why they're rubbish. That's pinned. It's pinned to our Twitter page. So if you fancy just giving us a little bit, it's like 3 questions. Fancy getting a bit of feedback just so next season when we can get more on and more of what is wanted, less of what is not wanted.
I'm on it now.
One of the top things of what do you want to see more of next season is Mick's rants. That's one of the top. It is.
Oh, you're kidding me. Well, let me just let you into a little secret.
Go on.
As you're probably aware, some of you may not be aware, we'll be playing in the Championship next season. Just in case there's anybody from down the road who's strayed onto the wrong podcast, it's a league above where Sheffield Wednesday are playing, and we all know the standard of refereeing in the Championship. So I am sure that within seconds of the first podcast after the first match, there'll be a rant somewhere along the lines, won't there? The opening game at season for us.
Yeah, it's almost certain. We'll also have a quick chat about the League One playoff final that's happening Saturday as well, because why not? It affects us. It does have effects us. PowerMed UK says there'll be 30-minute long rants after each Championship game. Highly possible. Highly possible.
There usually is, mate, to be honest. It's just usually not on podcast.
Yeah. Right, so let's dive into the retain list. The list is slightly more not black and white as it should be. So the headlines are Michael Smith and Michael Heckway are being offered deals. They're in talks, as we know. We'll come on to Michael Smith later on. There have been options, and Jimmy Lindsay, apologies. Jimmy Lindsay has also been offered in talks of a new deal. The extensions have been triggered on Chio and Victor. Have I missed somebody else out there, Danny? I'm sure he doesn't trigger another one.
Chio, Victor. We're in talks with Lindsay as well over a new deal.
Yeah. And then I think certainly Chio is in talks to extend that extension. But no, Lindsay is, so you'd assume Victor is as well. That's just was assuming, which is probably wrong. And the main headlines are the releasees. So the releasees, as I have them, and then I will correct me when I miss one out. I have down as Joe Mattock, Angus MacDonald, Mikel Miller, Freddie Ladapo, can't read my own writing, Jake Cooper, Greaves, and Grattan. They're the three kids, basically. That's covered it, haven't I?
Yeah.
Missed anybody out? Everybody else is under contract until at least next season. Let us start. Who do you want to start with, Mick? I'll let you have first bash. Which one of those releasees would you like to have a quick chat about first?
Well, I think the obvious one is Joe Mattock. He's been an absolutely superb player for us, a hell of a servant, and I'm quite surprised, to be honest, to see him go. It suggests to me that the reason that they've done that is because one, he's got a lot more football left in him, which I suspect he probably has. But two, they're looking at younger, upgraded models for that position, and obviously they've got somebody in mind, I would imagine. Otherwise, I wouldn't. Otherwise, I won't let him go personally. Vastly experienced player, capable of doing a job in at least two positions at the back there. So, and perform probably at his best for us at championship level as well. Yeah. But I accept, obviously, he's now 2 years older, isn't he? And unfortunately for him, he tends to get injured tying his boots up in changing room, doesn't he? So it's not it's not great for him. But he's been a hell of a player for us, as Joe Mattock. Love him to bits, and I absolutely wish him all the best for wherever he goes next. And he's going to make somebody a cracking player.
Yeah, and not only going to get a good player, they're also going to get a good professional as well. They're going to get a steady head. And I know he loves a good yellow card. I suppose you've got to take that into account, haven't you? The fact he loves a good yellow card. He's got something like 57 yellow cards in his 200 games he's played for us. I work for the day, which I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of stupid things like that. Geraldine Simpson sums it up. Not surprised to see Mattock go, but sad all the same. I think, like you say, Mick, to add fresh blood to the squad. Yeah, and to Parma UK, I don't think Mattock would be able to cope in one's fitness team anymore. It's just a shame, but that's football. Yeah, it is, Danny. And we'd all love Mattock to stay for a bit of a story, and because we love Joe Mattock. He's great. He's great. He's just reliable. It's almost like Richard Wood. It's like a warm blanket. You just know he's going to be there all the time. But football does move on. That's the brutality of football. It doesn't matter how comfortable it is for all fans and everybody else. Times change. Yeah,
and I think Mattock is just we'll call him a victim of circumstance. He's been a really, really strong player throughout his whole time with us. He's loved a yellow card, like you say. He's been a good left back, but also a good left-sided centre back in his final season with us. But I think, it just comes down to that thing of looking to improve where we can, and definitely put in a strong word of staying up in the Championship this season. And I think because we want a better sound does him a disservice, but someone who will enhance the squad on that side of the defence. And I think it more or less comes down to how much could we have actually played him next season, because we didn't really play him much this season. He played, I think, in nearly every Papa John's game, bar the final, I think. And then in the FA Cup, in the AFL Cup, but in the league, he was only really a sporadic player. And as someone's of Mattock's quality, you want to be starting every game that you possibly can, especially at League One level. And I think wherever he goes, he will do a job for that team. But I think the best memory he leaves with us is flooring Ivan Toney when we played Peterborough. Yeah. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
That kind of upgraded his standard yellow to a red, that one, didn't it? But still worth it.
Funny. Yeah, I think we were 3-0 up at time, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah. Still don't know why Tony didn't get sent off but anyway, it's in the past.
It is. Yeah. Do you have another favourite moment, Mick, from Mattock? I mean, you want to pick one of his thousands of red yellow cards?
Yeah.
As you know, let me get a bit about Mattock is his ability to win a free kick facing his own goal. He's one of the best we've had at doing that. When he's facing his own goal, he is going to win a foul.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I just love a player like that. I love a good, it's an old-fashioned pro. You know, he's steady at what he does. You know, in professional footballing terms, you know, in our footballing terms, he's unbelievable. You know, but as a professional footballer, he's a steady head, experienced. He's been there, seen it, he's done it, and yeah, like you say, move on. They move on. Players move on. Football moves on, done it, and just thank him for his service to us, to our club, and hopefully he'll get a move.
Hopefully so. There was a couple of more extensions triggered. Josh Chapman and Jake Hull have also had their contracts extended for a year, but third choice keeper and a kid who's going to go out on loan, so it doesn't affect necessarily the first team, but still worth noting. Angus MacDonald, Danny. It's again, you mentioned about a victim of circumstance. That's Angus down to a T, unfortunately, this season. Last season, he was arguably our best defender. And this season, he's because of one thing or another, couldn't get in team, then gets a red card, which went a red card, and that's literally the last we saw of him.
Yeah, perfect example of victim of circumstance, unfortunately. And I've read in the paper as well that he was actually quite surprised that he wouldn't be offered a new deal, and I could understand why, because I think he thinks, and a few fans think, that he had more to offer than what he showed this season. But I think long and short of it is that, again, we're trying to build a squad to not just survive in the Championship, but probably to finish it probably at least 5 points above the relegation zone as a minimum. And Paul Warner will have had to look at it in like, how many games could we get out of Angus? You know, what's his fitness level going to be like? Is he going to be struck with another injury or this, that, and other? And it's just that analysis of how many games could we get out of him, and if it's not up to the, you know, maybe 20, 25 plus, then unfortunately it's a shake hands and good luck elsewhere. But again, Angus goes down as one of those players that he came here, did a stellar job during his time on the pitch. One of the highlights of this season was his return against Wimbledon, and the chance of if Angus scores were on the pitch, which was hilarious. And I think a few Millers fans will be keeping an eye on him and see like where he ends up and see how he does and such. I've seen a few Barnsley fans say they want him back at Barnsley in League One, and he could definitely do a job there for him. But yeah, Angus is another one of those players where we shake hands, we part ways, but he goes with no animosity at all and leaves a very highly respected player just with a low appearance number.
Yeah. But if all things being well, Mick, he'd have played the entire season. If it had continued how he ended last season, he would have been one of the best defenders in the league. It's just life happens, doesn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, I guess it does. I think it's quite a brave decision to let him go, to be honest. And you know, given the fact that Icky's not yet signed a new deal, maybe there's a gamble going on here. A gamble that the deal that we offer Icky's going to be good enough to make for him to stay. A gamble that Huddersfield will turn over Nottingham Forest, which they're more than capable of doing. And in which case we may well get Reg back for another season on loan. Maybe there's a gamble there as well. You're right. It's unfortunate for Angus, the fact that that he's not been able to get any game time this season, and as soon as he does, he gets himself wrongly sent off, and that puts an end to his season. So he's just not been able to get any traction in this at all, has he? Really?
No, he hasn't. And also, this is based on Salary Sport to put together wage lists of players. This season, Angus MacDonald, according to them, was our third highest earner. Freddie Ladapo was 3 further down the list, and Joe Mattock only another 3 down the list. So you got 3 out of the top 10 earners released. So from that point of view, Danny, that's almost a no-brainer. You look at the games Angus has played this season. Why would we keep him as X amount? You know, because you've got to bear in mind when we get promoted, there'll be a clause in there somewhere that says you get X amount of increase in your wages. So it would have been even higher. So because of the games he's played, I suppose him and Mattock are perfectly. Based on this, they're on over Angus is $3,500 a week in League One. So you're talking maybe $5,000 a week with the automatic increase. So he had to go, I suppose.
Yeah, it just adds an extra factor into like wage to appearance ratio, and how many appearances we could get out of him compared to his wage and such. But I think Tony already saying that he's willing to invest more into the Paul Warne way next season than he has done in previous championship seasons. I think the groundwork for that is to get part ways with the players who have had low appearances but high earners, so you can get high earners in that will make a lot of appearances for you. And could be a little bit of a gamble with Icky's deal running out and maybe him not signing, same with Reg potentially not coming back. Could be a little bit of a gamble, but sometimes in football you have to gamble to succeed, and it's either going to swing brilliantly for us or swing very negatively against us. But in the paper, they've already mentioned about we are looking at players in every single position, more emphasis on defence, I think, potentially a striker, but all over the pitch looking at new players. So it's definitely not a fill the gaps and hope for the best situation. It's definitely right, who can improve our team and push us up the Football League even higher. And I think with the little bit more investment we've got, that's the right ideology to have now, because a lot of people have said it to me that, you'll go straight back down next season, typical yo-yo club banter.
With the Wednesday fans.
Maybe. But in all honesty, I think if we invest in the right places and not have any animosity towards the players that leave us, I think we could succeed in the Championship. And you never know, we might cross paths with some of them again at some point, whether it's in the Cup and they're against another team, or they might come back for one last hurrah or something. We don't know. But yeah, the hyenas in Mattock and MacDonald, they just go with our blessing, don't they? Unlike a particular forward, but everybody else who's been released, we just go, thanks for your service, and we'll see you later. Yeah,
I agree completely. Let's talk about this will potentially be the final mention of Freddie Ladapo on this podcast. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Freddie's been released, man. This is the sort of almost controversial one, because we had an extension. He's a goal scorer. We could have got X amount of money for him, maybe even recouped our cost in the first place. But we decided against it. The club have decided the best thing we can do is just basically get him off the books. Again, I already mentioned he's in the top 10 earners of the club, just over $3,000 a week according to Salary Sport. The club have not taken the risk. They played it safe by getting rid of him rather than trying to recoup any money. Did you think that's the right call?
Me? Oh, Dennis. Oh, me. Oh, right. Yeah. I think it is probably the right call because obviously he put in the transfer request in January. The offers came in for him. I think if there were going to be any offers, they would have come there and then, because there were teams that needed a striker towards the back end of the season who would have who could have scored them some goals and possibly made a difference to where they finished. I'm struggling a little bit with the issues that people have with him putting the transfer request in. If you don't want to stay, you don't want to stay. That's him. That's up to him. That's his choice. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. My issue with Freddie has been his lack of appearance towards the back end of the season when he wasn't playing, when other players have been there, and that I find a little bit difficult to swallow. But if you take this in the round and look at the whole period that he's been with us and the good times that he's given us, albeit only the odd one or two, there were spectacular ones. I take you back to Hillsborough twice. So for me, look, the guy's got whatever reasons he's got for not wanting to be here. They're his reasons, and he's perfectly justified in having them, as far as I'm concerned. We are not in a position to criticise him for wanting to move away from our club. We're not. Yeah, we can talk about, and I've been his biggest critic at times in terms of his performance on the pitch, and I stick my hand up for that, and I stand by that, because I think he's underperformed a lot of the time that he's been with us. But I'm not going to criticise him for wanting to leave. No way, because I don't know why he's doing that. So for me, good luck to him. I hope he gets what he wants. I hope he gets what he's looking for. I suspect it will be another League One club. I genuinely think, from a footballing point of view, that's his level. And good luck to him. It goes with my blessing because of what he has done for us. And it's sad, but that's how it is. That's how it is. I don't hold any animosity towards him whatsoever, like some do.
Fair enough. Don London says they'll miss Ladapo from a personal point of view.
Well, that's precisely my point. I mean, that's another episode or another incident where he's given somebody a supporter of our club a moment that she'll never forget. You know what I mean? He don't have to do that. He doesn't have to get involved. If he doesn't have to do it, and he has. So, like I said, good luck to him.
I think it's Freddie, the person, that goes with our blessing, because like Donna's put, with him helping out Nivea during a difficult time for her as well. As a human being, he goes with our blessing because he is a very kind-hearted person at his core. But I think it was his attitude on the football pitch, especially towards the end of the season, which is why I think a lot of fans are glad to see the back of him, because we didn't want someone with that sort of attitude on the football pitch when the going gets tough and you're in a promotion run and you're just down tools because you want away sort of thing. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. Freddie goes with our blessing, but it was just a shame that it ended on such a sour note on the football pitch.
Yeah, Paul Davis did a really good article on him, I think, last week, in last week's Advertiser, basically about him being a good guy off pitch. Paul Davis gets to meet these players close quite a lot, saying that he is a good guy away from the pitch, but obviously what he did on the pitch sort of let him down. If you haven't read that, I recommend you go and have a look, because it sums it up much better than we can, unsurprisingly. He's gone. I find it difficult. Based on the performances he put in, his attitude at the very end, it leaves an incredibly bitter taste in my mouth. It taints and almost takes away those special moments he gave us. I can't think about that goal at Hillsborough without thinking about the how he treated us at the end. They're linked. His time at the football club is linked. Don't know. I may be a bitter man, but just how I feel about this football club. Should treat it with respect, and I don't think he'd treat it with respect, and that's what frustrates me. But anyway, let's not go down a new Matt rant. Let's not start a thing. Confirmation of Milligan, as we already mentioned. Do you have anything to add on the kids, Danny, that went to Cooper, Greaves, Grattan? I'm right in saying John Greaves has been offered a chance to come back and train pre-season, basically having himself a contract.
Yeah, I think with Jerome Greaves, his contract is due to run out, but he has been invited back to train. So they must see something in him, along with Kieran McGuckin as well. But I think the young lads, I think it's, again, a victim of circumstance, because we've gone up to the Championship. We sort of know they won't get as many first-team opportunities because they don't have the EFL trophy to get them minutes. We've only really got the EFL and the FA Cup and then the league itself. So I think it might even be time as well for them to, go out into the world and experience men's football at whatever level they find themselves at, because they've proved they can do that with the loan spells. And I think because we've gone up to the Championship and purely because of game time and to free up, again, whatever little money we can, I think that is, again, why they've had to leave. But again, lads who go with our blessing, from what I remember of seeing Jake Cooper and Jacob Grattan in pre-season games and brief spells on the pitch, they are very capable footballers, still very raw, only 19 and 20, but it's their time to go and I sound like a parent, don't I? Time to spread the wings and go and find themselves in the world. But I think because we don't have the youth setup other teams do, we don't have an under-23 to further development or anything. That is unfortunately what we have to do. Like the teams up the road in Sheffield, they've got official under-23s teams that have competitive leagues. Unfortunately, we don't have the structure for that. So our solution is to say, we've developed you as much as we can. Off you go into your own world of football.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. So let's talk about how it leaves the squad mix. So how the website has described it on the article was we had 14 players who remain under contract and 4 that we have open the extension to. So we mentioned the 4: Chapman, Hull, Victor, and Chio. But the 14 you look at that are under contract, so at least 18. Let's say we've got 18 under contract. That's where we are right now. But of that 18, we have Curtis DeRose, who's unlikely to get any game time next season. Kieran McGuckin, who's probably not going to get any. And also Mackenzie Warren. You could even maybe throw Bowler in there, who is probably not going to get much game time. So we're down to 14 is where we're at. And that's why Warney said we need 7, 8, 9 players, because 14 players, that's the basis of a squad. But it's nowhere near enough, obviously.
It's nowhere near enough, clearly. But it's a very, very strong base to start from. When you look at the quality that's in there, I would argue at this stage of the season, for the last probably 10 years, it's a stronger base that we've had to build on in all that time. So I'm confident, absolutely confident, that the recruitment team, they will have been doing their work anyway. We know that. They will have identified the players that they want, and I'm absolutely confident that they'll get the right players in. I suspect Will Grigg will come back. I'm quite confident about that. I've got no basis for that confidence at all, but I just feel that he fitted in, and I think he enjoyed himself here, and he is coming, relatively speaking, towards the back end of it, the latter end of his career. He's not 17 anymore, is he? So it's going to provide him with some security and some a reasonable place to see out 2 or 3 years of the back end of his career. It'd be great for him, reasonably close to where he lives as well. So it kind of ticks all the boxes. Obviously, just the wages issue there, and then we'll have to wait and see who they've got in mind. And I'm sure there'll be some surprises. In terms of Talaji Bowler, I'm not sure that he will go out on loan. He's not a million miles away, I don't think, from being a really good class left back. I genuinely think that. He's still got a bit of work to do, but we'll have to wait and see on that, whether he's going to be up to it. You don't get it through that Arsenal academy and sign professional forms at Arsenal without having a certain amount of talent. Let's say, certainly, probably more talent than we've managed to produce over the years. You know what I mean, or sign at that age. So,
I think I've nearly got all us then, not at signings we had.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I will. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's a great base to work from for me.
Yeah. Damien Duncan mentions that he should probably possibly include a doffing of the players who might not get game time. Yeah, he might be one of those players that fits in more in the Championship. But then you got JJ as well, who might not get game time, so he might force out on loan. It's quite a top-heavy lineup, Danny, in terms of players on books currently. You've got Wes Harding and Richard Wood as our defenders. That's it. Those are our defenders signed up.
That'll do, mate. That'll do.
I'll do for 3 at back. Obviously, we've got players that can fill in, but that's obviously the key area we once talked about. Central defence is probably the key area we're short on.
Yeah, but like Mick said, it's an okay start, isn't it? Rome wasn't built in a day. We have to start somewhere, and someone who Wes Harding's quality and the experience of Richard Wood is a fairly good start. But yeah, like I said in the paper, the emphasis will be on a few positions at the back. Hopefully, Icky re-signs and we get Reg back on loan, hopefully, because then that back line's looking a lot healthier straight away. And yeah, I think again, like I said with Angus, I think it's looking at people who can turn out week in, week out, but also do it effectively, but also be efficient with wage to appearance ratio and such. You can see where the plan is, basically. I mean, we're looking at it with amateur eyes and And from the fan perspective, and long and short is, we basically have no idea what's going on at the football club. We just talk about it. It's like, oh, have you seen this? Let's talk about it on the podcast. But you can see like the bits of paper that we've been given, just starting to formulate the plan that's coming into it. We have put a couple bids in for some players already and inquired about some other ones. But obviously that's not going to be moving at all until at least next month. But yeah, I'm actually quite excited for this transfer window. I'm excited to see what we do with it. Because now that we know to expect a fair haul of players, it's be interesting to see who's on that list and whether it's some household names, but also some surprises as well.
Yeah. Right, we'll come on to that. We'll do some transfers in a minute. What we'll do now is have a very quick word from the legends at Manscaped, who are sponsoring the podcast at the moment. And then we'll be back to cover all sorts of transfer nonsense. And like, so we'll look at League One to the playoff final as well. See you in a moment.
Manscaped, who very kindly decided to sponsor us. They're promoting their new product, the Lawnmower 4.0, which is kind of well known for reducing cuts and making it a lot easier to trim your balls. You can buy this separately or in a bundle called the Performance Package. Which in that you get a ball toner, and ball deodorant, which are actually very handy because they're specifically designed for your balls. So they work very well. I highly recommend all of this. The lawnmower, it comes with a little light. Comes with a little light there that comes on when you turn the razor on. So it's very good. It comes with a little charging port, which is also a little holder. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I use it, and I highly recommend it.
You highly recommend it, Ben? You highly recommend that somebody goes to manscaped.com and enters the code NYT for free shipping and 20% off. So that's manscaped.com for 20% off free shipping using the code NYT. And Ben highly recommends it.
Yes, he does. Let's have a 2 minutes on Michael Smith, Mick. The noises are that Paul Davis described it in his article as one of the best deals that the club has ever offered a player. Which is, well, as things stand, what is general knowledge is that Dexter Blackstock was one of the best we've offered, which was rumoured to be about 10 grand a week. That was the rumour at the time. Now, obviously, this won't just be, here's 10 grand a week and off you go. There'll be bits to it, obviously. But for the club to go out and say, right, so we, as a fan, we have got a benchmark, haven't we, really? We know roughly where we're working with. If we ever anywhere near like that, that is properly pushing the ball out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. If we've offered that, then I'll be surprised if he doesn't stay. Very surprised. Bearing in mind how comfortable he is in this squad, around this team, around this club. But listen, we just got to wait and see. It's a bit like waiting for Christmas, isn't it? You know, and
we know what's coming.
Well, do we? You know,
Christmas is coming.
Yeah. Well, you don't know what you're going to get, though, do you?
No, that's true.
So I don't know. I'm not concerned. I've said it before, and it might be a bit controversial. Listen, if he goes, he goes. Then we will replace him. Maybe not immediately with somebody as good, but we will. You know, we've become very, very attached to Michael Smith, just because of the story and because of what he's capable of and what he's provided us with. He's been an absolute superstar for us. But if he moves on, it'll be for his benefit, and nobody could ever blame him for that. So, but we've done what we can as a club, by the sounds of it. Now we'll have to wait and see whether anybody else comes along and one-ups us. I'm sure somebody will try, but can they offer everything that we can offer?
Yeah.
I know the answer to that. The answer is no, they can't. Because I don't think that there is another club at the 92 that can offer Michael Smith what we can offer him, bearing in mind his connection with this club. That's me.
Yeah, Shellstone says, do you think people like Grigg and Wood can influence Michael Smith to say, you are valued here, the grass isn't always greener elsewhere, money isn't everything, and when you find a club, you are such a good fit in? And I think that, Danny, that's a good point. Grigg and Woody, you've got people there who have been shunned by managers. But you've also got Michael Smith. You look at Michael Smith's career. Before he came to us, he was almost a journeyman. Maybe that might have been a bit harsh on him, but not far off with how many loans he had. And he's found his home from a footballing point of view. He's not a 22-year-old kid who's thinking, just get me money, just get me cash. It's clearly not how it is. Obviously, that's important because he's got a family that he's to look after. But he's at an age where I assume he seems a clever guy. He seems a sensible guy that's not everything. He's got to do everything that suits him, not just the wages.
Yeah, I think Smith's. I see a lot of people talk about it and say this could be like his last big payday sort of thing. I mean, personally, I'm not convinced with that because I think Smith could still move up higher if he's now just hit the form of his life, the form of his career effectively. If we keep improving him, it could turn into a Jamie Vardy character where he doesn't peak until he's at the age where some people would write him off. But the rumoured thing that we've offered him is a 3-year deal. That's what I've heard anyway. And yeah, like people have been saying, it's the biggest package, shall we say, in the club's history. And I'm going to have to put my conspiracy theory hat on for this one, because in his piece in the Advertiser, he talks about how we're moving house soon. In his piece in the Advertiser, and yeah, he's got a young family. He's got one young daughter, I think, and another one on the way. So I might be looking too much into it, but he's mentioned about having a house. We've mentioned about it's one of the biggest packages in the club's history. Tony Stewart's opened his wallet up to the lads going to Vegas. Has he said to Smith, if you stay with Rotherham and sign that 3-year deal, we'll buy you a house for your growing family? I'm not sure. That's why the conspiracy theory hat's on, but you never know.
Yeah. One of the quotes from it said something along the lines of, I've spoke to some other clubs, but there's nothing concrete, and we'll know by the end of next week. Well, if there's been nothing concrete from any other club, I'm not going to sign for him. And it's a risk to wait. It's a big risk to wait, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like you say, he said that he has spoke with representatives at other clubs, but it's not like they've said, we'll offer you a 3-year deal with this amount of wage. He's probably just touching base going, what's the situation with Rotherham then? And for him to say it should be done by the end of next week and he's not going to keep us waiting around for his decision, like you said, that is a very tight window for him to decide on where he's going to spend the next X amount of years as a footballer, to the point where maybe a bigger club might come in later. We're not sure, but he's already set the wheels in motion. He's talking to his missus about it all and what's going and getting her thoughts on it. He's obviously thinking about his young family as well. I mean, for me, it's like making the right noises for him to re-sign and stay on for a bit, but at the same time, he could still move on and make the decision to try and get a bigger deal from another club. But I don't know, the way he sort of spoke in the art. Well, I know it's quoted, but the way he sort of spoke to Paul Davis for the article, it almost sounds like he's saying, "Just hang on a little bit, but I still really like this football club," and he doesn't want to give anybody the wrong idea, sort of thing. But for me, the noises that he was making are quite positive ones. But again, this is the excitement of the postseason, isn't it? We'll have to just wait and see. But I think we need to just cross everything that we can that he does re-sign, because after coming off the back of that League One season, he'll do a very good job in the Championship next season. I just hope it's with us.
Yeah. And let's have a play a bit of hypothetical, Mick. If we manage to keep Michael Smith, it's almost a landmark moment for the football club, because in our past, in our history, my time watching the club, when we've wanted to keep one of our top players, they're not staying. They're just not staying, are they? They go somewhere else. You go back to the night, Alan Lee and people like that at the time. They obviously weren't out of contract, but he went because he wanted bigger and better things. Alfie, similar sort of thing. The list goes on and on and on. And I think that's a testament, obviously, to Paul Warne. I mean, and also to Tony Stewart. Not because the cash he's offering him, but Michael Smith clearly got an emotional attachment to this place, and that emotional attachment is clearly almost worth as much as the money, which is making him think about it. And it just shows a difference. If for me, this could be a key moment in the club, being able to keep somebody like that if he does choose to stay.
You don't win anything with good human beings, do you? And I keep going back to that. And I keep going back to it, and people use that, and they've used that in the past as the headline, the peppy little headline that we're all sort of, all trendy and everything else. You've got to look behind that. You've got to look behind what that sort of environment creates, and one of the byproducts of it, from our point of view, a positive byproduct of it is it creates that environment that people want to be in. They want to stay there. They're happy in their work. They enjoy themselves. They're comfortable, and they feel that not only a financial attachment because they're being paid, but they feel an emotional attachment as well. And that's just as strong. That can be just as strong. That good human being thing has got many strands to it, and that's just one. That's just another one of them. And hopefully we've managed to get our sort of claws into the likes of Smithy and people like that are going to drag them back towards our club because of it makes them happy. You only go to work to earn money to do stuff that makes you happy. If you can go to work, earn money, and be happy doing it, what else do you need in life?
Yeah, exactly. And if he can sign on, who knows the heights and goals he can hit. What's he got? 61 goals for us so far. If he signs for 3 more years, he could be touching 100 goals by the end of that potentially.
Yeah.
We should be incredible. We can be incredible. That's so. I do wonder if that plays on players' minds. I've got this many things. If I stay here, I can do these amazing things. I wonder if that plays a part as well. Might not. It would for me, but that's stupid. There we go. Is there anything? Donald London asked a question. If you could choose any League One defender in any team to sign for us, who would you pick? The obvious one for me is that giant Accrington. Sykes.
Yeah.
He fits the mold of a Rotherham player. He's massive, a good defender, and not terrible at that, and not terrible on deck. Any advances?
Curtis still ain't bad, is he? Nah, kidding. No, I agree. Is it Alex Sykes? Accrington. I think so. But yeah, like you say, an absolute giant of a defender, still only in his Ross. I'm sure I've heard of an Alex Sykes somewhere, but anyway. But yeah, absolute towering defender, the sort of guy you want in a back line. Just the big lad who heads the ball out, but he's also decent with his feet. And how he played against us in all 3 games for Accrington, he is a very good player, destined for higher up, I think. But no noise from us about him as of yet.
No. He's 6'4" and a bit, Mick, if you're interested.
No.
No? Not interested.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, he was all right, weren't he? Nobody, looking back at this season from a defensive point of view, nobody that we played against really stands out to me at all. And I don't know whether that's because we spent most of the first half of the season battering everybody. It was just. I don't ever remember anybody having Michael Smith in the pocket. I just remember him having off days because he weren't in game or he were injured or whatever. I've got nothing on that one, I'm afraid.
Okay, that's helpful.
I think the best way you can describe Ross Sykes is the embodiment of what an Irish wolfhound is. He's like an Irish wolfhound, but as a human being and a defender. One of them people you sort of go, "Oh, you're tall."
Yeah, I agree with that. Julian Simpson says Romani Edmonds Green. I agree with that one. Mick?
Yeah, I love that one, definitely.
That one gets Mick's seal of approval.
And Michael Hekwe, he's another good one as well. I'd have him.
He's not bad. Yeah, he's not bad.
Yeah.
We are asking the question to Huddersfield about Reg as well. Paul Warner said he will speak to the guy at Huddersfield about it. But obviously, they'll be waiting to see what league they're in next season. And if they're in Premier League, yeah, we'll probably get Reg back. If they're in Championship, we might need to convince them a bit better. But just know that we are ready to have the conversation. Same with Will Griggan actually signing his contract. We are going to have the conversation. If not this week, then next week, I think.
Yeah. Well, we read if the rumours are to be believed, we almost signed him permanently last summer. And I know he signed a new contract to Huddersfield partway through the season, but that could have been just a bit of an insurance policy for them. So if they were potentially looking to get rid of him permanently last summer, how highly do they actually rate him? If that rumour's true, obviously. I don't know. Danny, Tom Barkhausen's name has been lifted. Apparently, we were the first ones to mention this as a link to Rotherham United, so I feel quite proud of that. I don't know whether we've started something or whether it's actually there we are is a semi-bit of interest, but Hamshaw mentioned, and again in the advertised state, that it's a name that we're looking at. He didn't dismiss it, did he?
No, he didn't outright dismiss it like I did with Izzy Brown. Because when Paul Davis asked him the Izzy Brown question, it was just straight up no. So it's like, right, okay, move on. But Tom Barkhausen, he was a bit more coy, I think is the word, with his response. Basically said, "Oh yeah, it's someone who we'll look at, but we've obviously not approached him yet because we still want to weigh up our options." But that's sort of answering the question without answering the question, which is sort of like, yeah, it might be on our list, but we're not going to tell you. that whole thing with football clubs, which you have to respect as well. But yeah, he is now officially on my transfer board because now it's not just Twitter making the noises, it's also the football club that are making the noises about it. And if we do sign him, I think we deserve at least an interview with him because we're the ones who started the whole rumour. We should have first dibs on that one, I think.
We get assist on the transfer, I think. Do we get a percentage fee?
I think we do, yeah.
Is that how it works?
It works out somewhere in the region of about 0%.
Be like them APRs that you get on your bank account, 0.01% every month.
Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah.
No, 0.01%, that's what it'll be. or 10p in a Freddo. We'll take that as well.
We'll take anything. We're not fussy. Brian Vernon says the Chelsea striker whose name he can't spell. Pronounce it would be difficult as well, to be honest with you.
It's Tashimanga, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. Dennis pronounced it. If it's wrong, Dennis' fault.
It's probably wrong, to be fair.
It's worth noting that the National League season's not even finished, not even close to being finished. Their playoffs start this weekend, and I think they've got throughout 3 weeks in terms of getting through the playoffs. So there'll be nobody coming in from National League until very close to the start of the season, if that even happens to be the case. Any other names, Danny, that you can share with us that you've heard rumours of? It's been fairly quiet from what I've heard on the Twitter vine.
Yeah, one of the main ones seems to be a few still making a noise about Cole Stockton. And the whole thing of him rejecting the deal at Morecambe because he wants to push up with his footballing level. But again, that all hinges on whether Smith re-signs or not. If Smith doesn't re-sign, I think we'd be more in the driving seat for Cole Stockton. But again, it's circumstantial, isn't it? Yeah. Other than that, we've effectively exhausted our supply of transfer rumours now. So I think we need to get a new one going, don't we? Need to get a new one going.
Yeah, we'll think of one. Pre-season planning's underway. Paul Warren's confirmed they're going to Croatia, which is a change. I think we've been to Austria twice, Hungary, and now Croatia, which will be nice and sunny in July. A pre-season friendly has been confirmed and then unconfirmed. The Crew announced that we were going to play them the week before the season started. That has now been removed from Crew's website. Very strange. Don't know why they've done that, but that's probably going to happen. These things happen. If we've not announced it, it's one of those reciprocal things, isn't it? I would have thought.
Yeah. They'll come, won't they? And obviously it'll start off with the Pargate one and then move on from there, won't it? So just see how it pans out. And I assume that we'll be playing Leicester again because we seem to play them every pre-season.
We didn't play last year.
Say again?
We didn't play them last year. Borough and Newcastle won it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Fair comment. I'll shut up then. What do I know?
Have you noticed though that every time we play Leicester, they do well in a season? It's like we played them in the season they won the Premier League, and then we played the season that they won the FA Cup. So it's like they might be coming to us going, "You might give us a hand with that Conference League in Europe and play you again."
Yeah, exactly. Howman UK on transfer rumour says he doesn't think it matters if Smith signs for Stockton. With Freddie leaving, it leaves room for him there, possibly. But if Grigg comes in, Grigg probably fills the Freddie role in terms of a slot in the squad. I think Stockton would take Smith's role, or JJ's if JJ goes out on loan potentially.
Don't forget, we've still got Georgie Kelly who put us there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anything else on pre-season? Obviously, the Parkgate game will happen end of June probably because of how early it's starting.
I kind of put together a weird diary of potential dates that then was very quickly muddied because Cruz pulled out in some regard for the end of it. But I have the proof. I have the evidence that Crew did tweet it. Yeah. I'm not going mad. I promise you. I have got it. But from my working out, and this is proper working out because I've sat down and looked at a calendar and gone, "Yep, that'll do." I reckon we'll play Parkgate probably on the 25th of June because basing it off what we did for what is now last season, actually, we did Parkgate, then we went away to Hungary, played the team in their third division, and then came back and then filled it out. But when we were meant to play two teams out in Hungary, but we ended up playing one because somebody else pulled out because of COVID, I believe. So it'll be Parkgate, 2 in Croatia, come back, maybe squeeze in another 2, and then Crew was meant to be on the 23rd of July, but now we don't know about that one, so we'll wait and see. And then the season itself starts on the 30th. Now, there might be a few split 11 games in there, and maybe squeezing in. Yeah, and then squeezing 1 or 2 more. But yeah, that is roughly the calendar that I've conjured, and no doubt I'll get an email of Sam Todd saying, "How do you know this information? It's meant to be private at some point." But yeah, that's what I've worked out, and I will be planning my holidays accordingly.
Okay, Mick, would you like a pointless stat?
Please, I love them. Can't get enough of them.
When we play on the 30th of July, it'll be the first time we've ever played a league game in July. And we will have completed the year. July is the final month we haven't played a league game in.
Wow.
Played in June in 1948. I think that was because there was a big freeze. I seem to recall the story on that. I
remember that.
12 months. I knew you would.
Yeah.
Pointless stat. We are the number 1 place for Rotherham United pointless stats.
No, that's the sort of thing where if our first game of the season ends up on Sky, it won't. But if it does, that's the sort of stat they'd come out with. And we can all credit it now to you, Max. If they use that stat, we'll just go, "Here, Matt Lack said that first on the podcast on this day. We demand reparations or something for that."
Do you know if Sky Sports put us on telly and they move it to Monday the 1st of August? I will be fuming.
No, knowing Sky, they move it to the Friday, so then it would be the 29th, wouldn't
it? Yeah. But Mick, realistically, the what Danny's mentioning there, we play Parkgate end of June, which is likely. Season's only just over a month away. From the pre-season friendlies, we'll just finish. We're a month away from being back at games.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for us.
Yeah,
great for the supporters. Not so great for any of our families who are non-footballing supporting, and not so great for the players probably for their lack of downtime. It's a very, very quick turnaround because of this stupid World Cup.
Imagine if we'd have got in playoffs. Imagine if we're at playoff final and only 2 months between end of season and start of season, whereas we are obviously going to end up 3 months.
Yeah. So
pesky World Cup, isn't it?
Yeah. So we said stupid. We will definitely be talking about it when it comes around. So you have to change the shoe in about that, Mick.
Fine.
On other games that Mick will get frustratingly annoyed at, let's talk about the League One playoff final. Sunderland almost hosts Wickham at Wembley. Bear in mind how many fans they're taking.
Don't start.
It's going to be. I'm looking forward to it. I know Mick's going to, sit on that idea and squash it, but I'm looking forward to how intriguing. It's going to be intriguing. I don't think it's going to be pretty, Mick, but it's got a lot of ingredients to be potentially quite very interesting.
Has it really? You think?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked, like you say, we talked to Neil Richardson last night, and obviously being a Sunderland fan, he got some quite good things to say about Alex Neil, and I have to agree with him. He's a cracking manager. How much quality are we going to see on display on Saturday? Bearing in mind, you look at, and I can only clearly base this on the games that we've played this season, because that's the only time that I've seen these two sides, with the exception of the playoffs. It's going to be. I can't see it being a great game. I can't. I'd like to think it is, but I just can't see it. Wickham are going to spend most of the time kicking it into 14 million Sunderland fans. 14 million Sunderland fans are going to keep singing about how many of them there are, and Sunderland are just going to do whatever it is that they're doing. I'm not entirely sure what that is, if I'm quite honest with you. So, yeah, and with a bit of luck, we can just throw a Championship referee into the middle of that, and happy days. It'll be a right ball, won't it? I'm not feeling it, mate. I'm not, but I'm convinced. I'm not convinced. I'm pretty sure that Wickham will go through.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. You got to watch it because we need something to talk about on Sunday. You got to watch it. Danny, can I find any enthusiasm from your corner?
Well, it's just a game of football, isn't it? Really, the only thing that makes it interesting is whoever wins, we're playing next season. Really,
yeah.
And that's really it. I still feel a little bit dirty for cheering Sunderland's goal against Wednesday like it was one of ours. But the one thing I do hope is that it doesn't go to penalty shootouts, because I have had enough of penalty shootouts this season. I've seen 3 live with Rotherham and then 4 on telly. So we've had Port Vale, Cambridge and Hartlepool with Rotherham. Both Liverpool games in cup finals, Sheffield United, and then Rangers against Frankfurt. I've had enough of penalty shootouts. My heart can't take it. I will comment saying I only watched the Rangers game because of Tavernier in the Rangers squads, but I just can't act penalty shootouts anymore. My blood pressure can't act it. The machine that checks my blood pressure keeps beeping at me. It's not nice.
I could watch penalty shootouts every day a year. They're just glorious. They're just amazing. There's something about the pressure and our players reacting to that pressure and everything about it. Tears in the stand. I would have put Rangers to win last night, but just turn into the crowd and there's people crying about it. It's just, cameraman did a great job, to be fair. He must have found about 15 Rangers fans crying after that. He did a great job. Not just little kids either, they were grown men blubbering, weren't they? That's what I'll probably say on Saturday. Sorry, if Sunderland lose again, they'll be devastated. But Wickham will come again. I think it's one of those that is. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be terrible quality. You don't have to be good quality game to be enjoyable. That's my.
No, that's true. Maybe. That's true.
I'm going to put my eggs in one basket and say Sunderland will win.
I'd prefer Sunderland to win.
Because basically it's about time they got out of that division. It only takes us a single year, and this is their 5th one. No, it's about time.
Yeah, you should be supporting Sunderland anyway, mate, because your Twitter friend Chris on Twitter, your Hurdle, is it Hurdle?
Yeah, I know she is, and I get that, and I understand that, and I do feel a little bit bad for it, but if Sunderland go up. They're going to start spending money again like it's going out of fashion, aren't they? And what's that going to do to club? I don't know. For the
best players, they were replaced with rubbish players.
Well, yeah.
The one thing I don't like about the playoff finals is that they're using VAR.
Again, interesting.
Yeah, and we can see where the underhand tactic is there. It's like, we'll just try and playoff final and see what happens with it, and then we might introduce it into the Football League.
Why do they want to see what might happen with it? We know what's going to happen with it.
Well, they did the whole test event thing in the Premier League and then just went, it's failed, but we'll use it anyway.
Yeah,
So they're doing the same with the playoffs and the Championship, aren't they? But yeah.
Well, the issue is, and this is a wider topic, that you have to be trained to use VAR, so you can't have Trevor Kettle being the man in the middle for VAR because he's not trained to use it. So they're having to use Premier League referees for playoff finals. Even League One, 2 will have to have Premier League trained referees using it. So that takes away. This isn't really a minor topic, but it takes away from League One, League Two referees having that moment to referee at Wembley, which is a big moment. That's part of the play, whether you like it or not. That's part of the playoffs. These referees get that opportunity. They're losing that opportunity now, and then it also presents a problem if you do bring in a Championship. You've then got to train all these referees who aren't very good at refereeing anyway to do something that's even more potentially slightly more difficult. I'm sure we will get comments on this. Stephen Adams asks, any comments from Mick regarding Championship referees?
There'll be plenty, Stephen. There will be plenty of the coming season. We're hoping, we did have a very short negotiation with Howard Webb, and we're hoping that Howard will come on at some stage. Hopefully, it'd be great if we could get him on pre next season. We'll have to wait and see. So there might be some interesting chats to be had there in terms of refereeing standards.
You still have to be careful. He is still, I think he's employed by the MLS.
Yeah, exactly.
So still has to be careful.
He does, I don't, because I'm not employed by them.
But if you want to stay friends with him, situation.
Howard, if you do listen to this, I'm sorry.
He's absolutely not sorry. He wouldn't do it anyway. If we were sorry, he wouldn't do it, as I say to the 7-year-old.
One thing that could be an idea with Howard Webb is having referees corner, where it's just Howard Webb saying, "Look at this decision for us. What would you have given?" And then any argument we've got saying, "Oh, it could be a penalty," we just cut to Howard Webb, and he just goes, "No, it's not a penalty. End of discussion. Just move on."
The problem is, if you watch Ref Watch on Sky Sports, Ref Watch on Monday, where Dermot Gallagher looks back at the weekends, and it just talks like a referee, and that's what I don't like. Is as well, actually, technically, I can see why the referee's giving it, but is it the right decision? Well, I can see why the referee's giving it. So you're not telling me whether it's the right decision or not. I know I would be a bit more straight talking.
That's the thing we need. What do you think? Not what referee. You can see why. No. What would you have given? Would you have sent him off, or would you have given him a yellow card? What do you think, Howard? That's what we need.
I think we just talked him out of coming on there, to be honest.
Essex Formula message from Danny and Mick. Danny and Mick, you won the pre-season predictions. You said you would have. Get in touch. Anything else? We've gone to again. We're managing to get an hour, 2 hours a week out of no Rotherham games, and we're still talking about quite a lot about Rotherham. Is there anything else Rotherham related or slightly tenuously Rotherham related that you'd like to talk about?
I think. Do you fancy that Brian Vernon's mentioned in the comments there? Would you rather play Huddersfield or Forest next year?
Forest.
Mm.
I don't trust Forest to go on a 3-season run of being good.
I'd like another moment like we had against Forest when Will Velch just shoved Roy Keane out of the way. I'd love to have another moment like that with them.
Be careful, yeah. We should point out the idiot who headbutted Billy Sharp is a clown and thankfully got his prison sentence handed down. There's not much more to say on that other than I can't. We don't swear on this podcast, do we? So I can't say what I actually want to say. But thankfully, Billy Sharp's all right. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a shame that they've done it to a former Forest player, so it's just blind idiocy into
exactly. Just a clown, complete clown. Mick, Huddersfield, Forest.
Yeah, I think I prefer to play Forest. I think Huddersfield are starting to build again. I think their manager, with his pedigree as well, is going to be a very, very good manager. I just wonder whether they've got quite enough this season to make it. That's all. I know the lad they brought on back end of the game against Luton. I can't remember his name. Has he been injured?
The man who scored, Jordan Rhodes.
No. I know who he is because he used to play at Hillsborough. Now I can't remember his name anyway. But I just wonder whether they've got quite enough. They're still playing tippy tappy around back, aren't they? And not quite. They really seem to be able to penetrate very often. But if they
got injured again.
Yeah. If they can get past Forest, I think they'll do reasonably well next season, to be honest. I think they'll be able to invest a little bit, and they've got a very, very good manager. So we'll see. But I'd like it to be Huddersfield, to be honest. It means we've only got one local derby so far in it, and next year, and that's Sheffield United. So I'm comfortable with that. So
Could have Leeds yet.
Well, we could do, but Everton are currently doing their best to throw it out.
Really?
Yeah, they're losing at home to Palace. Burnley.
Leeds are still in the drop zone, though. So it's going to the final day in the Premier League for that last place.
No, Leeds have dropped in because Burnley were in the relegation zone.
I see.
We're recording live, and when somebody watches this tomorrow and Burnley have lost, anyone make any sense of this? So final day of the Premier League. So on Sunday, we'll cover any more Rotherham topics. We'll cover the League One playoff final. The final day of the Premier League season is Sunday as well. So we'll then cover who we're going to play and anything in between, to be honest with you. So in terms of future episodes, we will probably, based on the Michael Smith situation, we'll probably do a normal episode next Thursday because there will be something to talk about.
We hope.
Hopefully. Or we may play that by ear. We'll see how that goes. We've got one former player in the bank. We've already mentioned we talked to Neil Richardson. We've got another one lined up for next Tuesday. We've got a few more irons in the fire in terms of getting maybe one of the current lot on. There's some questions gone in to that one. And we'll try and see what we can wiggle about some other players as well, because I know that's what people want to see and hear from. Keep an eye on the socials. We're nearly at 1,000 followers on Twitter, so please go over and follow us on there. Just to tick over that 1,000 would be beautiful. We're on 985, I think it is. So if you're watching on Facebook, go over to Twitter and log in and follow us. Same on YouTube. We'll creep up to 600. If we get to 600 soon, that'll be amazing. And yeah, keep an eye on everything. Keep an eye on everything because we're trying to do as much stuff we can throughout the summer to keep the Rotherham flag rolling. Mick, anything else?
No.
Fantastic. Let's go watch Everton lose. Danny, anything else from you?
No, I'm all good.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you Sunday. And then after that, who knows? Have a nice weekend. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Freddie's on one-on-one. Freddie shoot. Can Freddie go shot? Yeah!